Lorena Hickok was born on March 7, 1893, in East Troy, Wisconsin, to her mother, Anna Waite Hickok, a seamstress, and her father, an ill-tempered buttermaker named Addison Hickok. In 1906, Anna passed away, and Lorena left the home of her abusive father and started work. Lorena had a great work ethic, and with the help of her Aunt Ella as well as Mrs. O'Malley, the wife of a tavern owner, was able to finish her high school education while working. One of Lorena's favorite teachers, Allison Holt, inspired her to attend college at Lawrence College in Appleton, Wisconsin. However, Lorena was unwilling to conform and quickly failed out. After leaving college, she moved to Battle Creek, Michigan, and got a job writing for the Battle Creek Evening News. She did so well that she got a job offer at the Milwaukee Sentinel, a larger paper. She worked as the society editor, but she also broke gender norms by volunteering for nighttime assignments, which was typically seen as men's work. Lorena quit her job at the Sentinel to move to New York and explore. However, she was quickly fired from the writing job she had there, and then moved to Minneapolis in 1917, where she began working at the Minneapolis Times. Her editor there, Dillon, who she called the Old Man, encouraged her to break barriers. He taught her how to drink and how to live, and encouraged her to break gender norms by assigning her to stories about crime, politics, and sports. Hickok was a very popular sports writer because she had the ability to humanize the athletes and coaches in a way that male writers typically did not. Hickok was promoted to the Sunday editor of the paper and started drinking liquor, smoking cigars, and going by the name Hick. In 1926, Hick was diagnosed with diabetes. Although it was treatable, it would cause health problems for the rest of her life. However, that didn't slow her down. In 1927, she accepted a job in New York City at a tabloid called the Daily Mirror. In 1928, she was hired by the Associated Press. Within her first year there, she landed the story of a sinking steamship, which would make her the first woman to have a story published on the front page of the New York Times. In November 1928, she conducted her first of many interviews with Eleanor Roosevelt, future First Lady of the United States. Lorena was so successful while working at Associated Press that in 1932 she was given a very important assignment, reporting on Eleanor Roosevelt, who was married to the presidential candidate Franklin D. Roosevelt. Hick quickly realized how newsworthy Eleanor could be. Lorena had been lonely for a while, often bringing her dog as a date to public functions, and found a much-needed friend in Eleanor. Lorena's writings on Eleanor consistently cast her in a flattering light. Hick even asked Associated Press to allow her to transfer to their Washington, D.C. office so that she could be closer to Eleanor, but was rejected because the D.C. office already employed one woman and did not want another. This shows that for the first time, Lorena's life was about more than work. It was about Eleanor. It is unclear when the romantic relationship between Lorena and Eleanor began, but many historians agree that their romance did last quite a while. Rosemary Anderson was inspired to create the International Honor Quilt Square for Lorena, largely because she felt that Hick's true personality and sexuality were often overlooked. Lorena soon felt as though she had to pick between her job at the Associated Press and her relationship with Eleanor. Therefore, she quit her job writing in 1933. Eleanor helped her get a new job with the Federal Emergency Relief Administration as an investigator. This new job would take Lorena to every corner of the United States to hear from people who lived in some of the most extreme poverty in American history. Hick was so disturbed by some of the images she'd seen and stories she'd heard, she asked Eleanor to come visit her. Eleanor made the trip to West Virginia to comfort Lorena and to see the poverty and desperation of the Great Depression for herself. In 1936, Hickok's work for the Federal Emergency Relief Administration was finished, and she took another job as a director promoting the World Fair. Following her work at the World Fair, she returned to D.C. to work for the Democratic National Committee and lived in the White House with Eleanor and Franklin Roosevelt. Hick continued to write for almost the rest of her life, despite losing her eyesight with age. Respectability politics played a large part in Hick's career as a journalist. To be taken seriously, she had to act like one of the boys. She adapted to become successful in a man's world and shook up the world of journalism with her insightful writing. However, Lorena's significant accomplishments are often overshadowed by speculations of whether she was a lesbian. She worked hard for her professional accomplishments, but in media, they seem to take a back seat to her sexuality. Hickok was an intelligent and hard-working woman who broke gender norms and earned the respect of politicians and journalists alike. She also paved the way for more women to enter the fields of politics and journalism, which were mainly male-dominated at this time. Hick's ability to relate with others, her innovativeness, and her dedication to always getting her job done right are just a few of the qualities that made her an amazing journalist, researcher, and friend.